Well, I've traveled from Davos over here in Greenland. I was there a couple of days back listening to Donald Trump's speech. There has been a bit of a climb down as far as Trump is concerned, but he hasn't given up on his ambitions on Greenland, not at all. I decided it's important to come over here to Nuuk in Greenland to get an idea of what local experts and journalists and people in the area actually have to say. We are more than halfway across the world from Nuuk itself, and I think it's important to be here to understand the perspective. I've got three excellent journalists and broadcasters with me, so I'm going to get their views on this. Could you first introduce yourself?
I'm Anders Lumholdt. I'm a correspondent from TV2 Denmark.
And you? Go ahead.
I'm Cecilie Kallestrup, a journalist from the Danish Broadcasting Corporation.
How about you?
And I'm Frederikke Bertram, also from TV2 Denmark. I'm a reporter.
Right. So my first question is to you. What was your personal reaction, not just the reaction of a journalist, but as a Dane, what was your personal reaction when you heard the rhetoric of Donald Trump in the last few weeks?
I think it's gotten a lot more serious the last couple of weeks. We've heard about his ambitions a year ago and back in his first term about somehow wanting to take over Greenland. But this time it was totally different because he was so persistent. He was threatening with indirectly threatening with using military force.
Yeah.
And that, I think the situation just became much more serious for Greenlandic people, for the Danish people, and for me personally.
How have people in the area locally responded to this? Or I mean, what are they thinking?
It have been 3 really, really intense weeks for a lot of people since Trump's military actions in Venezuela. I think people here woke up feeling a little bit weird about that because the situations are obviously very, very different.
Yeah.
But still, it kind of shows how far Donald Trump is willing to go in certain aspects. And I think that made people think. And since that day, it's just become more and more intense. But this is obviously something that has been going on since the end of 2024, when he intensified his wishes to acquire Greenland.
Yeah. And as I understand it, people over here in Nuuk and elsewhere in Greenland don't want to become American citizens. That's the basic point, right?
Yeah, I think so too. They don't want to be a part of America, and Greenland is just Greenland. It's not for sale. They say that like every day. So I think they don't want to be a part of the States.
And it would put an end to NATO, right? If Trump were to even attempt to quote unquote buy Greenland or use military force, that is the end of NATO, which has lasted for so many decades as the basis of peace in Europe.
Well, that's the fear, that it could sort of break up NATO, because the whole idea of NATO is having an alliance where the countries stand together, and the US is, of course, the dominant force of that alliance. It's been very close for 80 years. And then if suddenly one country within the alliance attacks another country, then what is the alliance worth? You know, who should we defend ourselves against? Who should we trust? Are the Americans still our close allies, or are they our enemies? So that would create a total confusion within the NATO alliance. And that's why it's been such a grave situation, not only for Denmark and Greenland, but for many European countries that has decided to back up and stand behind Denmark and Greenland in this matter, because they can suddenly see the potential of the whole alliance falling apart with all the consequences with the war in Ukraine and the whole security setup in Europe.
Yeah. The fact that there's been a little bit of a climb down by Donald Trump a few days back in Davos, I was there, I saw that. Is that in any way reassuring, or not enough has been said?
No, it's definitely reassuring. And there's no doubt that when he uttered those words in Davos, people here could breathe a little bit easier. The issue is that so much has been said, and a lot of people that we talk to here, they don't feel quite certain that this is the end of it, because a lot of new comments can suddenly emerge, a new meme, a new, jokey sort of like Donald Trump walking with a penguin.
Yeah, I know, which makes, because I know penguins were over here. So
yeah, that's obviously ridiculous, but these little things come all the time, and I think people are scared that it's going to happen again.
But I also think that they have a lot of questions, because what is in the deal? They didn't hear anything from the Danish Prime Minister, or they didn't hear anything from Jens Nielsen, the leader up here. So I think they have a lot of questions about what's in the deal and what's not in the deal. So I don't think they feel safe yet. I mean, they're still afraid what's going to happen, because Trump said so many things, as Cecilia said. So maybe tomorrow he will say another thing, you know. So I think they're still afraid of what's going to happen.
This is Vishnu Som here in Nuuk, Greenland. We are the only Indian journalists over here reporting on a story which has made international headlines. The people we speak to in Greenland about the present situation with Donald Trump say that the situation is almost unbelievable. Even if Donald Trump has come down from his earlier position, people here do not want to be bought by the Americans. Their sovereignty, their identity, their nationality, they say, is not for sale. I decided it's important to come over here to Nuuk in Greenland to get an idea of what local experts and journalists and people in the area actually have to say. We will get you the real story. What's the situation on the ground? That's what NDTV will be reporting on.